Jack's just subtly muttering to himself, and he looks around, and he's in a very, very deep, like dank cave. There is no lights to be seen other than like some glowing fungal areas. He can't see anything too much around him. He's actually injured. It's not super severe, but it's still there. You can see two like bodies kind of laying close to you. You can tell they're alive, but you can't tell who they are. You see another one a little bit closer to you, and it's much smaller, and you can tell that it's Emmy. And when you're kind of getting a view of this room, you see that you're actually in a jail cell. And in front of you is a large cloaked figure. But so then we'll go in media res and then bounce into a few hours before.
How am I now? How's Jack now?
Oh, hours before?
Hours before.
So, hours before, Jack is with Quentin and the other urchins, and you guys are heading to Quarter Keep. You're on this dirt road that is leading into the small village. Quarter Keep is a little coastal village, so it encompasses a little bay. And there are stone cottages surrounding the perimeter of the bay and the water. And then the keep is actually in the middle of where the bay is. And you walk on a big bridge and almost like a big dock to get to this small little outpost. To give kind of an example, think of something very like either Nordic or Irish, like that type of coastal village.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's like very gray, like brickwork.
Yes.
It's like stonework.
Yeah, a lot of stonework, a lot of masonry.
Yeah.
And so you were just maybe a mile or so out of town, and you guys have been making the trudge for a long time now. You left the borough, I don't know, over like 3 or 4 days ago.
Okay. Yeah. That sounds about right. I can't remember if we were doing this on mic, on air, but we're trying to figure out distances.
Oh yeah.
By like time.
And you haven't listened to Emmy's episode, but we also talk about that
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 3 to 4 days sounds about right, especially with the group we're with. So. And
the big thing is you left before, because like you knew Emmy was going. Or Tristan knows that Emmy is going to Sixport.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But Jack doesn't.
Yes, yeah. Jack left. Jack and the urchins and Quentin left Emmy and her father.
Yes.
And our favorite boy to watch after our favorite land. Favorite patch of land. Little do we know that it's unprotected.
As you guys are walking to Quarter Keep, with Quentin leading the way, and Jack's about maybe a person or so behind Quentin. You've been really enthralled in this book that you picked up that has to do with Rangers, because as we kind of discussed, that Jack was going to multi-class from be a rogue and something else. We decided on Ranger. So I think this is the perfect time to talk about this.
To become a jack of some trades, yet a master of neither.
Hey everybody, Scotty here. Just jumping in real quick. When me and Tristan were talking about Jack multi-classing into a Ranger, which we looked at the stats, and he is totally able to do. I was going to let him do it anyway, but it was nice to see that we weren't breaking the rules of the game this time. Our conversation was about like 20 minutes long, so I cut it because even though it was fun and funny and goofy, it was just a lot of stuff that wasn't necessary to the plot and kind of slowed down the episode. So the Cliff Notes version is Jack as a Ranger, and for those of you who don't know what a Ranger is, think of like a survival guide, a woodsman expert, Aragorn from Lord of the Rings. That's all I can think of right now. But of course, Jack gets better at certain different types of armors and shields and all sorts of different weapons, and he gets more health points. But the two big things is he gets an ability called Natural Explorer, where he will be able to like move better on initiative rolls and move better through different terrain. We're also using the revised Ranger edition for D&D 5e, not the base one in the player's handbook. We're using the one from Unearthed Arcana because it's better, frankly. So those are like gameplay mechanics and combat stuff. But the biggest thing is a ranger is particularly good at hunting a specific type of enemy. And you have to pick up what that enemy is. Jack has picked constructs, which we talked, and we're going to include automatons in this as well. So a construct is anything that is made by science or anything made by magic. So golems, and we had the stone back in season 1 made Irva Moonkaren into an earth construct. So these are all things that Jack has dealt with over the course of the show. And Tristan thought it'd be a good idea for him to be, good at combating those types of creatures, because that is what he has fought through the entirety of season 1 and 2. So wanted to say that. Also, he gets a new language from Primordial because it has to do with elemental stuff. It just comes with being a ranger. And we kind of threw in that, when Jack, fell into the Primordial Forge, but at the end of the season 1 finale, that kind of got him more interested in that type of language, in the elemental language. So those are the quick Cliff Notes version of the gameplay mechanics of Forsyth Fantasy Hour, because yes, we are 90% storytelling and improvisational comedy, I guess. We still want to, adhere and try to follow the rules and the gameplay mechanics of D&D, because that is what makes the game, interesting and fun. But now, back to the episode. Setting up for Jack and his ranger stuff. Let's talk about the book that Jack's reading.
God, yes, please. J.K. Rowling's 8th novel in the Harry Potter series. It's insane.
Because I was going to say that it's a folktale about a famous Noishing ranger.
Perry Hotter.
I have to type that down now.
Yes.
Yeah, so the story, this particular tale of Perry Hotter, I hate it. Whether it's true or not, that I'll leave that actually up to you. And if you want to keep that a secret, then that's totally fine. Like whether this is actually just a legend or if this is a real person. This book has just kind of inspired you. And you've really seen different like ways of like stuff that you've already known. But it's kind of like new revelations of like, oh man, Rangers are pretty dope.
I want to say upon his first read, he probably didn't think it was real.
Okay. Maybe on his second read, he found some like secret notes.
I think when the more primordial he's starting to learn, the more primordial notes within the guide that he's able to pick up on, and he's like, "Oh, cool coordinates! Oh my god!"
You know how like in
it's real.
Gravity Falls. Mm-hmm. In the journals, there are like secret notes written in. So maybe there's some written in primordial by Perry Hotter.
The legendary ranger, Perry Hotter.
Perry Hotter.
Perry, you're a ranger, Perry. I'm a what?
So that's cool. I like all of that, and it's just a little fun thing to do before we get into the serious stuff. So this going to Quarter Keep has been something that's been on Jack's mind and on Tristan's mind. This is like actually a choice that you've kind of made for the story. But my big question is, what is Jack planning on doing at Quarter Keep? Like, what is his end goal when he gets there?
So I think, like at the beginning of the season, I think that he just wanted to go there. He wanted to see it. He wanted to take in the area, but it was like impossible just because this wasn't something that Quentin wanted. after this first adventure that we had in this season, I feel as if his thought process and like trying to get Quentin to take him is not only to use it as a way to like get more info, you know, like Guardian like lifestyle and culture, you know, just like trying to see how things were like and, you know, exactly like what their objectives like were. 'Cause it's like, you know, there's, you know, in all kinds of stories, people try to save the world or whatever, quote unquote, right?
Yeah.
But it's sort of like, one, at what cost? Like, who is the villain to these heroes? You know, like Jack's just trying to see where everybody stands here. And I think that in him bringing the entire family, he's sort of using that as leverage. Like, listen, there's no way that you can perform some of this underhanded stuff to me. Like, you got to tell me because the family's here. I would assume that having more people there, it helped scrutinize and see if Quentin's telling the truth, or it would just pressure him into just, you know, being more truthful or, you know, talking more, giving more information. Jack's just trying to appeal to that end.
I would like you to make an insight check. Insight is a skill that you use to kind of read people.
Inside is a PS4 game, and it's incredible.
It is. It was the ScottyMeLad 2017 pick of the year.
Like, share, and subscribe. Anyway, I'm rolling for insight.
Yeah.
Tight.
You're gonna get a read on the crew right now as everybody walks into Quarter Keep. Gotcha. You have made it into the borders of the town.
15 total.
I'll give you the option that there are 4 people with you. There's Quentin, Nyx, Ophelia, and Astrid. And there is another option. I'll just put other. So out of the 5, I want you to pick 2 of the people that you're going to try to read.
So you've described 4 people and then an other.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go with other just because I'm curious. But then I think the other one that I'm between Astrid and Ophelia.
Okay.
Do you have a coin? I'm kidding. Hold on. We have dice. I'm going to roll for it. I'm going to roll a D6.
Even or odd?
Even or odd, yeah. Evens for Astrid, odds for Ophelia.
Okay.
Oh, hey, that's by the first letter in their name. Astrid starts with an E now. It's canon.
Whoops.
That's another thing you need to change in your notes, by the way.
Okay.
Later, dude. Just kidding.
No, you're not.
I'm not now, I guess. So he's getting a read off Ophelia. I rolled a 3.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
So as you're kind of looking at your group and everybody's walking by and walking into town, right outside, you notice this little strange phenomenon that you've never seen before. And it's like this tiny little misty aurora borealis.
Aurora borealis.
And
at this time of day. And this time of year.
And this
part of Noishic.
Yeah.
May I see it?
Kind of. So when you look, you just see kind of like this rainbow mist coming out. You don't really notice anything else, but you look around and it's not happening anywhere. It's only in that one little location. And it stays there for a good couple seconds, maybe a minute.
When I walk up to it, does like a message box for a save point pop up, or am I able to enter the Velvet Room? What's the deal?
When you walk close to it, you feel like this radiance, like a presence from it. I mean, you're more than welcome to touch it.
Can I ask it if I can touch it?
Yeah.
Hey, Jack's too embarrassed to because he's around other people and they're sort of just wondering why he wandered off to the left a little bit from their path.
Mm-hmm.
So he just sort of mumbles at this whatever it is.
Okay.
And then is like, well, I'm not going to touch it with my hands. I think I'm just going to pretend that I'm walking forward towards it and just walk into it. So we just...
Oh, wait. Are you walking into it?
I'm walking into it. So just imagine, if this is going to be a person or whatever, just imagine like I'm walking straight into somebody with like no...
Okay.
Yeah.
When you kind of start talking to it, you get no response.
Okay.
But when you walk into it, you start feeling this suction from it, as if you're being like pulled into it. And the longer you stay, you kind of see your cloaks, because you have many robes and tattered stuff, kind of start going into it.
I walk further into it.
As you do, it starts glowing over you and glowing over your body. And your tattered poncho robe gets sucked in. And the more you stand in, the more your clothes are getting like kind of ripped in. And Ophelia runs to you and pulls you out. And she goes, what are you doing?
Where's my cloak?
And as you say that and look around, it's gone.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. That was really, really strange. I've never seen anything like it. And she's kind of like studying a little bit more of it. And as you look around and everybody's kind of like looking, and your little poncho is just gone. She's like, well, we'll buy you a new one, I guess.
That's some sentimental value, though.
Okay, well, I'll make you a new one.
Thanks.
How about that?
That's fair, I guess. God, what the? What the?
And as you're kind of like frazzled by this, Quentin says, hey, I'm gonna head into the keep and see if the drawbridge still works. Nix, Astrid, if you could come with me, that'd be great. And then they kind of get their stuff back up and they start heading over. Ophelia, and she looks at you and she says, do you think this could be something with the forges?
I don't think so. Give me a minute. And I'd like to check the area.
Okay, let's do a survival check then.
All right, cool. Sweet. Yeah, that's an 8.
Okay. Yeah, you don't see any more Aurora Borealis anymore. You don't see your poncho anymore. The only thing that you can see is tiny little footprints, but you can't tell where they go. Like they were at the base of where the Aurora Borealis was, but then they're just gone. Like you don't see it. You don't see any signs of like it being invisible. You just see, okay, something could have been here. You don't know how old the tracks are though. Oh wait, you have an 8. You have an advantage on that.
Yes. Oh, I roll again?
Yeah.
I check the tracks again.
Yeah.
Tight. I'll just keep the 8. My goodness.
So yeah, it doesn't feel like this is anything that you've come into contact with. But Ophelia,
just have it tarnished.
she has her sketchbook out and she's been kind of like drawing what she saw and kind of like the presence it had over you, and just cataloging it. And as she's flipping through some of her notes, you get a glance at some of the stuff that you told her that happened at the forge last time, where the forge was alive and a living creature, and how it talked about Orienstall. And that has been a name that you've heard a bunch, but you don't know a whole lot about.
Yeah.
So from your inside check way long ago, you can tell that Ophelia seems a little panicked by all of that. She seems confused when it comes to forge stuff and magic stuff. She's a college wizard graduate. She is incredibly smart in the arcane arts. But this is stuff that confuses her. And then anytime, even like on this trip that you've brought up Orienstall, she seems frightened. And it's a mixture of frightened and frustration. You can tell she knows more than she's let on.
Oh, for sure. He's careful with his words, but he sort of puts his hands like in the pages that she's flipping through as she's like flipping through, and he's like, I like this sketch. What's this? And he's just going to a random page. He's just trying to poke and prod her a bit.
The page that you actually see looks like a family portrait of a bunch of elves.
Oh.
And they slightly resemble her. The name that you see next to it is Brightwood. I think we've said it once before in the show, but that is Ophelia's last name, or at least her clan name.
Oh. Jack's got his hands on it, but immediately after he makes the connection, there he's hands off it. And he's just like, oh, wow. You remember what they look like?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, Jack, I don't think I've been super honest with you growing up. We've always talked about our family hierarchy at the Urchins and how we've been kind of in a similar age.
Yeah.
We're not, actually.
Oh?
I'm much older than you and almost older than everybody else. I just look really good for my age.
Yeah. What?
Yeah,
How many? How many years?
I mean, I've gone so long saying that I'm like close to your age, which is like in the 20s, and you need to add a couple more to that, more like maybe 200 or so.
Like days?
No, years.
Oh, okay. I was just being nice.
Mm-hmm.
I figured after you said 200, it meant years.
Yeah.
Okay. Why?
Well, you know, when I ran into all of you and I met you guys way back when, which were going on maybe like 12 or so years ago.
Yeah.
My family wasn't really around anymore. The Brightwood clan, they kind of all started dying out and we lost a lot of our fortune. My uncle believed that it was because of Orion Stahl, who I know that you've heard that name before.
Yeah.
He is considered, House Stahl is the most wealthy Galley family specifically. I'm from the ancient elven bloodline of Galley.
Oh.
So that's why when you guys were talking that the Hive King wanted to kill them all, I was a little worried because I'm like, oh, that's me.
Oh.
Yeah, so when the Brightwoods kind of lost all of our money, I decided to, be one less mouth to feed, and I left them. That's when I ran into you guys and found kind of a new home with you. I don't know the details of what happened to my family's fortune. I never believed that Orion Stahl had a plan in that, but hearing more about how the Forges somehow recognize them, which the Forges are living things now, which is totally out of my realm of knowledge, it has made me more interested in focusing on this side of No Wishing's history that seems like a lot of people don't know, or more likely they aren't supposed to know.
Oh. Huh. All right. I'm gonna let you know now. I'm not like mad or anything. I would assume that you're only telling me this now because the world's changing so fast.
It is, and I'm really thankful that you asked Quentin for us to come too, because there's other reports that Orion Stahl had a hand with the Guardians as well, and so I would love to learn more about that because it seems like a lot of my family and his family and
Our family.
are all kind of connected in a way, and I don't know why. It's one mystery that I've been struggling to solve for a very long time.
How have you felt about being part of the Guardians?
A lot of emotions, excitement, intrigue, concern, because I don't particularly like combat too much.
That's why we're here.
Right. I have no problem with you and Emmy going out and fighting the bad guys. But I'm just worried on who we're going to face. We've come up across a couple of nasty people, but I don't know how much worse they can get.
That's sort of been my question too. I would have just gone along with Quentin, or I'd have snuck off myself. I've tried before.
Mm-hmm.
But I asked his permission this time because I didn't want to deal with that. But I kind of brought you guys along this time so that maybe there's not much more he can hide from us. From what I've experienced, on my own. That is, folks find it easier to hide things when it's sort of one-on-one.
Sure.
So, I want to say that having all of us here as an audience is going to make it a little harder for him to hide behind that mask.
Yeah, and honestly, your theory is correct. I mean, it happened with me. I mean, I haven't talked about this at all with anybody.
Yeah.
Other than Jamie. Actually, Jamie is a bit older than we all expect too, because I mean, elves and dwarves live on for a pretty long time.
I mean, I figured, but like, dang. Also, Jamie doesn't really like talk to any of us, so
that's true.
I figured like he had to talk to somebody.
Yeah, I know Astrid was real beat up that him and Gray couldn't come. That we kind of just like left without them, but I really don't hold it against really anybody. Jamie doesn't talk to us, and Gray's doing his own thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't want him here either.
I didn't. That was not my words.
Those were mine. You can quote me on that.
And she says, "Well, we better head back with the group."
All right.
As they're walking, and she goes, "Oh, and I don't think Quentin's hiding anything nefarious by any means."
I mean, me neither. But I'm just trying to see what it is we're doing exactly as Guardians. We keep saving the world, but what exactly, who are we saving it from and why?
Yeah. Valid questions.
I'd just like a little more clarity, I guess, as to what everybody's up to. So.
Okay, cool. So as that conversation ends, you guys walk. You start walking towards the group, who by this point, with the help of Nyx, Quentin has lowered down this drawbridge, entering the Guardians' original home base, the main keep of Quarter Keep. You walk in through a drawbridge, and there is a stone courtyard and a large fountain. Fountain's not anything really specific. It's just a regular fountain. It's in the center of the keep, and it is surrounded by a total square wall of stone. And the stone walls have different rooms in them, and you could tell that like that's kind of where the rest of the building is. So just even by a glance, you can see this is where they ate, this is where they sat, this is where they went to their bunks, kind of like in the burrow. And the whole place is gross and kind of in bad condition.
You seen what Hyrule Castle looks like in Breath of the Wild?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's a bit like that.
Less of the darkness, but more of the musty.
A little bit. Not as weathered, because it's only been 2 years since this has been gone, because that's when the Paladin Pilgrim died.
Right. I mean, a loaf of bread left over would definitely be musty.
Oh, for sure.
The walls are still there.
No one's kept this clean. No one has maintained this keep since the fall.
Oh, more of a dirty apartment then.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Than a decrepit 100-year-old castle. I gotcha.
And there are weapons and objects and buildings destroyed from the attack of the Insectglaive that happened 2 years ago.
Okay.
So you walk in, and Quentin kind of looks at you guys and goes, "Well, it ain't much, but this is what I called home for quite many years. Yeah, I guess we'll take a look around, maybe find some rooms that are in good condition, and we'll stay here for the next couple days. And I'd love to kind of clean up the area if you guys don't mind."
All right. Gotcha. I need to get settled down. I'm cold. I'm down a poncho.
Yeah. The Paladin Jack actually might have one in his room. He had a bunk here.
Where at?
I can show you.
Let's go.
So, you walk into kind of the southmost wall, while Astrid and Nyx start kind of like cleaning up the fountain. Ophelia just sticks with them, and Quentin's walking with you. And as you're kind of walking up these little, very small, almost like, it almost feels like a hotel room, Quentin asks. He says, "So, how you doing there, Jack? This is everything you pictured it would be?"
I mean, it's a little empty.
Yeah. Oh, it's been like that for a while.
Yeah. I'm just surprised nobody else is here. This is a nice place. You don't think, bandits, no one?
I highly doubt it.
Should we check? He draws some sword out.
Quentin goes, that's not actually a bad idea. We might want to take a look around.
We should probably let the others know too, actually. This has just hit me. I'm very tired.
He walks over to a window and he kind of like hits it open. The shutters come up and he like whistles and he points at Nyx and he does like a little like come here motion with his fingers. And she runs over and he says, hey, I don't want to make too much noise, but maybe you and the girls can kind of do a look around, see if there's any bandits. Me and Jack are going to do the same. And she goes, yeah, I got it, Chief. She like starts walking over and she goes, hey, damn it, I'm supposed to be quiet. Hey guys, come on, let's look around. Yeah, so make a roll.
Whole wheat or white bread?
Well, wheat's healthier. I don't like the texture of wheat. I usually like white.
Egg salad is pretty good on wheat bread.
All right.
Yes. I just got an egg salad. Yes. Base roll 14.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, this will be interesting. So as you guys are going through the different rooms, because there's quite a bit of rooms in here, and you open up different doors, and each one you check kind of seems like they're in the same condition. Kind of musty, dirty apartment, hasn't been used. You see the Paladin Pilgrim's room. It had very little in it. Even after his death, Quentin points out that he just kind of kept a bed, a desk, and that was like kind of it. He had some like workout stuff too.
No. He was a bit of a monk. Yeah, he didn't really keep stuff on him. That was more gray.
You find Archimedes' room, Emmy's mentor, and it literally just has a single mattress and just bookcases everywhere from the top to the bottom and books lying about everywhere. But again, nobody's like in there.
God, what a nerd.
You find another room from someone named Sia, and it's spelled Xea. It kind of looks like a regular hotel room. Just a bed and like a armoire, a desk and like a little lantern on top. Again, completely empty or like of people. There, as you look around, you don't see any signs of bandits or hooligans, like anybody that would jump you. Now, when you do open one room, even before you open it, Quentin seems hesitant, and the name on the thing says Narissa. And so Quentin's holding the door handle, and he just kind of seems a little frozen.
Well, no time like the present. Narissa.
You get no response.
I open the door.
Okay, when you come in,
I know he's holding on to the door too. I just sort of push through
as you push through it, he lets go.
Okay.
And so this room's a little bit different. There's nobody in it. But it looks like it's been ransacked actually, and recently. So there was a long table with a bunch of papers that is turned over. There's bookcases that are empty, but they had dust, like they have dust marks on them. Like it seems like the books were taken.
Yeah, fresh like tracks of clean around the dust. Yeah, I feel you.
The mattress on the bed has been kind of overturned.
That's where he kept me cash, SpongeBob.
Hey, SpongeBob, you got my secret formula.
I don't have a bank account. I kept it all in my mattress.
So yeah, you come in and you see this kind of state, and Quentin's just still at the door. You just kind of seems very uncomfortable.
I tell him, I look at him because I don't know if he sees what I'm seeing, but I tell him, hey, this is fresh. This mess is very fresh.
Quentin kind of snaps to and goes, yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's strange.
You think we got a signal out here? We should let the others know. Call clasp them.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah. I try to ring one of them up.
Nix answers.
Okay.
She goes, "What's up?"
So we haven't found anybody yet. I'd ask you, but I mean, my concern here is that we're in a room and took a look around. Looks like it's been messed with very, very recently.
Weird. Yeah, because we've looked around and everything is just super dirty and gross. But yeah, we haven't found anyone either.
Nothing stuck out to you guys either?
No. Yeah, every room seems like it's just been left alone for the past couple years.
All right. Well, come meet us at... I just have them meet us in the same hallway this room's in.
Yeah, sure.
I have them try to head over to us while
Yeah, so...
Grill Quentin.
Yeah, Nick says that they'll be on their way. And so they start making their way over. Okay. What do you want to ask Quentin?
Well, I just straight up ask him, who's Nerissa?
Nobody good. Oh, I'll say that.
Huh.
She was a guardian.
I would assume.
Yeah. But she was a little bit different from everybody else. Strong fighter.
Like an 8? Sounds like she's a 10.
I mean, a 10 to me, I guess.
Oh.
But
you got some history there?
A little bit. Can't say I'm proud of it, but she has turned to be really toxic.
Oh.
In terms of the way she thought, the way she felt what the Guardian should have been doing. I don't think she came into her own place because I mean, she's dead.
Oh.
And I don't think she decided to stay in the Gauntlets. I think she's gone for good.
Huh.
She did a lot of experiments on creatures and people. One of them was me. I volunteered. But
you seem fine. You don't look like extra giant or extra small.
No,
I
but
start poking him with the hilt of my sword as I'm saying. I'm just joshing him.
I'm a bit older than I let on.
Oh, you too? Oh, wow.
It was unintentional, but it worked out this way. No, I look to be, in my middle age as a human, but as a guardian, I didn't want to be around for a century, then be gone. I wanted to be around here longer than that. Nerissa said that she could help slow my age with some of her magic and what we now call science. And me and her used this potion to slow my age. Ever since I came back to Quarter Keep, and I found that none of the Guardians were living anymore other than me and Yuri Stonecutter. That was the Stonecutter brothers. Their great uncle. Yeah. I don't know if he's still alive today, but at least 2 years ago he was.
Huh.
There are a couple other Guardians who I assume are alive. And when he mentions that, you remember that when you attended the funeral for Jack Pilgrim, there were a couple Guardians who were there.
Yeah.
I think in like the backstory you said about 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was a dwarf who you assume is Yuri Stonecutter.
Yeah.
One of them was not Quentin. And then, as he describes Nerissa, who was this water genasi woman, she was not there.
Okay.
So the other 3 other people are not who he's talking about.
Okay.
But Quentin says, when I found out she was gone, I started aging again because I couldn't take the formula I would take every couple months or so. So, yeah, she did a lot of other things too. I know she was very fascinated in creatures and how we could use their abilities. She should have had a lab around here somewhere. And he starts kind of messing against the walls. And he goes, I am a little worried that whoever ransacked this
was looking for the lab.
Yeah. And so make a check. An investigation. That's what it would be.
Make an investigation. Yeah, so my total roll here would be 17.
Okay. As Quentin kind of mentions that you noticed that on one of the bookcases, there is scratch marks on the floor and it's able to move. Oh. So yeah, you push it open, and you find Nerissa's lab. It is a pretty small room, maybe about the size of like pretty.
You say it's more of a pantry, a walk-in pantry than it is a
walk-in pantry that could fit maybe about
like a desk or two.
A desk or two, yeah.
Okay.
It's very dusty. So whoever was breaking in, and ransacking this,
they weren't
room,
like me. Their rolls weren't hot.
They didn't find the lab.
Yeah.
And in the lab, the biggest thing that you can see is this smashed container that looks about that it would be about like the size of a humanoid.
Huh. Wait, a smashed container?
Yeah, like so this was an encased like tube that's now broken. But
what side is the glass broken on?
From the outside. So whatever was in it broke out.
Oh, good. How fresh?
Very old.
Okay.
Yeah, this is
all right.
I mean, you could do like a survival or like a check to see how long, but you can tell by just looking at it, it's
okay.
Not anytime recent.
He does a double take. Jack does a little double take. Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, I never really found out too much about that. I would see it in its container. I never thought it was actually living. I don't know if it still is now. I just know that was her personal project.
Oh, that's sort of freaky.
Yeah, it sort of is. Once I learned about a couple things she was doing, and a couple of things she was doing to like animals, I wanted to make my hands clean of it, but obviously I still needed to communicate with her to get my age potion.
Right.
And when he says that, Ophelia says, but what's that about age? And she kind of looks at you like, did you say anything about me?
But she's an old man.
And then Nyx goes, well, yeah, we know that. Quentin turns and looks at them and goes, it's a long story.
His story, not anyone else's.
Yeah. And he kind of looks at you like, okay. The person who owned this lab, the secret room, this
knock knock Nerissa, as he says that.
Yes, she wasn't one of the best guardians. She was a member of our team, but not someone I was very proud of.
Right.
And Astrid just like, oh, well, what do you think? Someone would kind of wanting to break into a room and not her.
I don't think they
lab.
Found it is the thing. I mean, it's such a mess out there, but I mean, I was looking at the scratch marks. I don't think they were too fresh. I think the scratch marks were just there from all the other times they've been open. I don't think they made it into the lab.
Quentin says, seems like, yeah, they didn't touch the lab. Let's go look around the room a little bit, her bedroom.
Okay.
Nyx, how about you and I kind of go outside and look around a bit, see if we can spot anybody out here. And so as they do, I would like you to kind of investigate the room along with Astrid and Ophelia.
Gotcha. You better tell me your secrets right now, sir.
Okay, you got it 20.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So out of all the books on the bookcase, those are gone. Those you cannot find like what would be there. There's a few pages on the floor that you could infer is what the books are about. But what draws your eye more is the overturned table. As you guys work together to lift the table up, there are tons and tons of notes strewn about on the ground. These notes encount lots of letters and almost like logs, and they're dated, and they talk a lot about something that is spelled RTEC, wrecked.
Nice.
Didn't mean to that when I said it out loud, but it, as you start finding out, it's part of what's considered an elder brain, which is what controls these creatures called mind flayers, where Tristan might know that name due to Stranger Things and the wonderful Baldur's Gate 3 intro.
Oh my god.
But do you think Jack would know what a mind flayer is?
I think that there's two directions I could take this, and I'm gonna tell you both the directions. I find them both very interesting. I think it would be interesting if he did know. In both these directions he does know what a mind flayer is, but one of them would just be like, this is something he's heard about. Something he's heard about during his thieving days.
Okay.
With, involving Undercommon. I think it would be funny if it was like he only knows about mind flayers because it's like some sort of like passing curse that, like clients and like buyers would like just sort of yell at each other. It's like, oh yeah, I hope you get messed up by some mind flayer, you little freak. Stuff like that. Or
hope you get your brain eaten.
Yeah, stuff like that. Or if it's that and he's seen one before in like some sort of like anti-gray orange type of like quest he's done before.
I like both. I like the former a lot. Mm-hmm. That especially mind flayers are sort of like this curse, this slang, almost like a boogeyman.
Yeah. Almost like a boogeyman, but it's like if the boogeyman was more of a cryptid. More of a cryptid. Yeah, I was about to say more like an alligator. I was like, no. I'm thinking about like Bigfoot, but if Bigfoot were a murderer. Yeah, that's the feeling I'm getting about mind flayers here. I don't think he's seen one.
Maybe Jack likes to say he's seen one.
He likes to tell people that. Absolutely.
But yeah, it's just this folktale story of these creatures who are controlled by like a horse-sized brain, and they come from the stars. This is actually all real D&D lore. When Ophelia sees all of the, Ashton has about the same like reaction as you, kind of like only heard stories. Ophelia's like freaked out. She's like, nothing good can come from a mind flare or an elder brain.
Wait, you've actually seen a mind flare?
I've never seen one because most people who've seen one have never lived to see them because they're either mind controlled or they're either eaten or turned into one of them.
Oh, so you've known I've been lying about that this whole time.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, well.
And Ophelia, Astrid's like, yeah, I didn't think that was a real story, but I liked for you to play along.
Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody. You're great. You're great.
So yeah, you're hearing that she's been wanting to do experiments, learning more about controlling minds. Narissa.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, she's reading the notes we're learning. Okay.
You see that as a guardian, she is very interested in a mind flayer forge called the Forge of Control.
Oh god.
It is an ancient forge, and she had been looking for this forge in particular and could never find it. And it drove her mad that she could not find this particular forge. And she believes that it is in Nyson, in the Underdark of Noishing. So that is like a lot of the doom and gloom stuff that you are getting a part
from
of
the notes.
Yeah.
Jack is personally interested in any other parts of the notes. Any juicy tidbits there about Quentin? I just want to know how hard I got to ship these two.
There's some logs of her talking with Quentin, and that they actually did go on a date at least once.
Did she seem interested? I feel bad for him.
No. She did not seem interested at all.
What a jerk. I'd have to assume she's into mind flayers. What a weirdo.
She was
Go get your brain eaten.
She was fascinated by the slowing down their aging process, which they use the essence of a vampire to do that. So Quentin's not a vampire, but he, I think at this point it's like left his body, but he had like vampire magic in him for a good long bit of his life.
Well, it's a good thing he basically quit smoking, I guess. That's what this is.
But she did enjoy the conversation she had with him. So she wasn't completely rude to him, but she was not interested as much as Quentin was. You find other information about Sia, who is a half Era Cohen person. So half human, half bird. And you could see that her and Nerissa were very close, actually. And Sia wanted to help with Nerissa and her projects and experiments. However, you get the impression that Sia didn't know really what was going on with Nerissa.
I mean, I would have to assume so. I think Jack's dealt with one Eric Cohen person in his Underdark thieving dealings. And
Archimedes is also Eric Cohen.
Yeah. They're generally either really, really fun or really, really smart and nerdy, and I hate talking with them. And then it depends. I like the ones that are fun.
And then some of the last notes that you have found are accounts of missions that Nerissa went on with her team, who involved Quentin, Sia, and Jack Pilgrim.
Oh my god!
And there are multiple instances of them protecting villages, and these are different notes. They don't really feel like Nerissa wrote them. It feels like her wording. Maybe someone was a stenographer for her, and wrote these notes for her, like reports and what they've done as Guardians. But back in the day, that was the team. And then you find a final note that doesn't match anything that you've seen. And when you pick it up, it's in a completely different handwriting. It doesn't match anything that matches Nerissa or really any kind of script that you've ever seen. It's very childlike in its writing. And it says, "Find the Guardian pure of heart." And as you hear that...
Does I read that?
You read it.
Okay.
Ophelia kind of takes a note and she looks and she's like, "Pure of heart? What would that even mean?" Jack, you feel something tug on the back of your cape.
Oh.
Astrid turns and she kind of steps back out of the door. It's the Aurora Borealis again.
Oh.
And it starts rising up behind you, and it's much bigger than it was last time.
Oh.
And out of it,
Aurora Borealis.
A couple, three little shiny objects fall out of it.
Oh. It's like, you say shiny objects? Mm-hmm. What are they?
They look like medallions.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
Do you pick one up?
Yeah, actually,
roll a d4.
Oh, 4? Okay.
Yeah.
3.
The one you pick up has Astrid's face on it. Oh, it's 100% her. It's a lizard folk person that looks exactly like her.
On a medallion?
Mm-hmm. Like a gold, like a medallion in a profile.
I pick up the other two.
It has Jack's face, your face, not Paladin Pilgrim's, and it has Ophelia's face on it. And then a couple more fall out. Yeah, actually, literally 2 more fall out.
Pick those up.
They have Quentin's face and they have Nyx's face on them. And as you go and reach down to grab them, these tiny little hands, like maybe 4 sets of them, grab you and pull you in. Then we're back in media res. Jack, you're kind of stirring, and you have this splitting pain in your side because, from what you can see, one of the stalactite or stalagmite, I should say, has kind of punctured you.
Did we fall into a cave? Is that what or did I roll onto it?
That's what you're kind of like.
I'm just dazed about
guessing?
It all. Huh.
You look around and you start kind of standing up on your own. Everybody else seems knocked out You're the only one. You seem like you've woken up first. And yeah, you're in what looks like a jail cell. And when you look across the bars, there is this hooded figure in front of you, and you hear a voice you don't recognize start to speak. But before they do, when you look around like the sides of the walls, you see these little creatures, the ones that pulled you in, like in different huddles and groups. They're very small. All look at you with these tiny little beady eyes, and it's very dark and you can't see a whole lot. And
even with my dark vision,
I guess you can't see, but for the sake of the audience, you can't.
There's some sort of dark magic, huh? Yeah, something blind and
something seems
dark
off.
Blindness. Okay.
The person pulls off their hood, and you see their face, and they are a strange-looking humanoid man, with wild hair, and like facial markings, and goes, "Oi there, love. It seems like you're in a bit of a pickle. Are you bleeding at all? You might need this." And he hands you your poncho. Or at least he's putting his hands through the bar. And he said, "This is yours, isn't it? Not my fashion taste, but it's quite nice."
I mean, this isn't like a bandage or anything. I can't tell if I'm bleeding, but like this won't actually help. I'm taking this back though.
Yeah, I'm just giving you your poncho back, love.
Right. Thanks.
Oh, you're welcome. Mr. Jack Pilgrim, and he does this bow, and all the little creatures around kind of like giggle and laugh.
Is it like, am I picking up? Is it a menacing, or are they just entertained?
A little bit of both,
yeah,
actually. And he says, "Sorry to have you here in such dreary circumstances."
Dreary? I'm just looking through a room. What's going on?
Well, my dear, you and your friends are in my world now, my domain. Welcome to Nyson. And as he takes off his other robe, you see this person who can only be described in glam rock attire.